All right, everyone, we should be live, and I should probably turn my volume off here so that I don't have to hear myself in stereo. That would be slightly distracting. Anyways, we'll get into the news of the day. The Arizona abortion law a few days ago, of course, Katie Hobbs signing off on repealing. That was from 1864. A little bit on the antiquated side, you will see. Now, their new abortion law takes supremacy. After 90 days, we'll get into that. There are a few convolutions with that story. Trump was actually championing the Republicans to get over it. And you probably don't want to make this a front burner election issue because, well, they're Republicans. So some of them were hesitant to go along with them on that one. Israel orders Al Jazeera to close its local operation. So Al Jazeera is no longer allowed in Israel. I think that's a temporary measure. And Al Jazeera is Qatar based, actually. It kind of makes sense, but it also rankles me because I believe in press freedom, including press that's bad for a sitting government. We've seen some persecution of the press in the United States, and hell, you've practically got a state-run media. They still won't leave him alone. We got Joe Biden allegedly pooping himself. That was a few days ago, and well, actually yesterday. That was funny. We'll get into the possible medical ramifications of this particular video. We're not sure whether it was defecation or some spinal issue. We're not 100% sure. We've got a poll. More Americans trust Trump over Biden on the economy and inflation. Well, I guess a majority of Americans are actually reasonably intelligent and do their own grocery shopping. Get a little bit sarcastic about that. Naked Florida woman arrested after breaking into neighbor's home and leaving her own children alone at home. Haley Blunt, 24. She's reasonably attractive, so I'm sure that the occupant wasn't that concern, is charged with burglary, criminal mischief, and child neglect. I have a feeling that drugs may have been involved in this. Florida woman, giving Florida man a run for his money. Vermont man, New York man, Alabama man. There's a lot of such news articles. Want to see butterflies in your backyard? Try doing less yard work. A no-mow patch helps caterpillars live long enough to turn into butterflies and moths. I think for the last couple of years, most of the field has actually gone fallow. It looks a little bit messy, but it does promulgate more biodiversity. Anyways, we'll get into all of that and general bans and everything else under the sun. Scruffy 0105. Let's see. Gamers gaining a win. Keep it up, bros. Let me see what this is. Yeah, Ghost Archive is good. I usually use archive.today. But there's also Ghost Archive. The main Internet Archive is still workable, but they've been known to scrub things of a political nature before, and they're also legally embattled. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't see what the archive actually says. It's a PlayStation post because it's got the turn on notifications thing in front of it. Oh, now I can see it. Never mind. Helldivers fans, we've heard your feedback on the Helldivers 2 account linking update. The May 6th update, which would have required Steam and PlayStation Network account linking for new players and for current players beginning May 30th, will not be moving forward. Okay. There's been a lot about the Helldivers game. I haven't played it, and I'm not going to. We're still learning what is best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldivers 2, and we'll keep you updated on future plans. Well, at least they're being responsive to people's concerns. Some tech firms don't do that. The Dashing Rogue. Arizona is great. Arizona man is underrated. Loss of art. Shout out to that Tarl the Tooth guy's tater tot shaped man clit. Yeah, I like our resident trolls. There's always at least one resident troll on my channel. There has been since the early dawn when I had a few hundred subscribers many years ago, like 2008, 2009. There was Wilberg, Breder, and others. I missed the Wilberg posting, by the way. That was funny. Still not sure whether the Wilberg Breder account is actually run by the person that was trolling under that name and pretending not to understand the joke, or whether it actually was based on a real person who did tech development. Still not sure about that. Anyways, first in the news, we have the Arizona abortion law. 1864, under the presidency of Abe Lincoln, no less. Arizona decided that abortion was going to be a no-no and carry a mandatory sentencing, actually, if you performed one and the woman's life wasn't in danger. That's been struck down now. However, there's a caveat. Because no emergency clause was assigned to the actual repeal, for the next 90 days, it's kind of in limbo. But clearly, they're not going to jail you for performing an abortion. The new law now takes precedence. Now, the current Arizona abortion law is a 15-week cutoff. It's roughly in line with most countries in the world, in the civilized world. There are still people that complain about it being too short. I think 15 weeks is okay. I'm pro-choice, just to be clear, and I know that it'll rankle some of you when I say this. I believe that a woman should be able to get an abortion, but I believe there's a definite cutoff at viability. That's beyond 15 weeks, of course, and that's generally going to be pragmatic. However, the law in its current form does not actually include anything about rape or incest. So past that period of time, unless you are inevitably going to die carrying the pregnancy forward, you can't get an abortion. I'm sure that plenty of people in Arizona therefore go over to California, where, I guess you can get an abortion when the baby's already crowning. I think that they don't have any particular restrictions there at all. This is the right thing to do, and the Republicans that did decide to go along with repeal, congratulations, because you just diffused a ticking time bomb, which would have exploded in your faces for the general election in 24. That's why Trump has come out against the 1864 law and was in support of repealing it, because then you've got a cutoff that actually makes feasible, pragmatic sense. It diffuses the issue. The Democrats are going to find it difficult, I think, to push it to the fore, because in most of the competitive states, Arizona joining them now, you have abortion laws that the majority of the population agrees with. We've got to understand most people in the country, the vast majority, do not want limitless abortion. The vast majority do not want a ban on abortion or some onerous law like an 8-week cutoff or something like that. 15 to 20, somewhere in that neck of the woods is generally what the population prefers. I think it's perfectly acceptable. This is pragmatism. You're really banning abortion doesn't work. We've tried it before, especially when it's a state's issue and you're going to have a patchwork of states. Trying to criminalize someone going to another state to get an abortion, not really going to go over well legally. I think that those elements of some state laws will eventually be taken down too. At the same time, nobody really wants a Ralph Northam 9-month abortion bill. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're in labor, but you don't want it? Okay, we can cave its head in or just poke it with a stick or something like that. Because that's tyrannical and evil. It's a baby. At the point at which viability occurs, it should be delivered normally or through C-section if it's feasible to do so. Aborting in that sense should only be done if the woman's life is going to end if she goes through with the pregnancy. There's some terrible complication, or if it's discovered genetically that the child cannot live. So it has cry du chat or something like that, and there's a 0% chance of it living. Consigning it to spending a few lingering hours in terrible pain is, I think, less moral than simply getting an abortion at that point. Just my opinion. Trump came to the fore on this, and he told the Arizona Republicans, get rid of the law. Don't bother trying to defend it. We don't need that fucking problem. In the end, he prevailed. And the Democrats, meanwhile, they want to expand abortion access in Arizona and get it more in line with like a Ralph Northam bill. I think that's going to backfire on them. They're sort of doing a Republican thing when they do that. They're trying to steal defeat from the jaws of victory, not quite understanding, no, the population doesn't want third trimester abortions. Most of the population would rather not have any second trimester abortions too. Thankfully, the majority of abortions occur in the first trimester, so it's not a huge issue. But, you don't really need to kill a 7-month-old infant. At that point, there's full viability. Unless the woman's going to die, then the child should have the ability to live. RGB 917, happy Monday, Clank Nation. Have a great week. Yes, indeed. Viking Woman 1988, flying to Krakow, Poland tonight at staying at Old Town and hope to do the Schindler List tour. Interesting. I'd like to see Poland, but I don't want to see the cities in Poland. I want to see the countryside, like the Carpathians and stuff. Scruffy 105, another archive. I own a musket for home defense as the founding fathers intended. I've seen that meme. Tally ho, old chap. Tigers are my totems and $5. No comment. Thank you very much. Mike the Wop, put my dog down like that. He was old with tumors on and in him. It was the two of us in the beginning and it was the two of us in the end. Not going to pay a stranger to stick him with a needle in a cold, soulless hospital. Yeah, I know. There's nothing wrong. Although I will say, and I did say this morning, Chrisye Nome is done. She was one of the most viable potential contenders for a running mate for Donald Trump. She blew it. Trump would be crazy to have her on as a running mate now, and she's going to lose any suburban support that she ever had. So Bye. Exit politics, I guess. Alan Tenaz, Joe Mama so fat she uses Saturn's rings as a hula hoop. Clank 2, everyone. Heraclius 610. What are the odds of Biden pass pardoning the illegals on the way out if he wins? What's the plan when every single country sanctions us if Trump tries Operation Wetback to destroy us? I don't think that we get sanctioned, actually, for deporting illegal aliens. The problem is processing them because some of them do actually have a legitimate legal asylum claim. Well, the processing's not really being done. They're delaying the processing, and I think that's kind of the point. The odds of doing that, Biden would probably be prevented from doing so by the Supreme Court. So he'd get cock-blocked. And then he'd end up getting probably punished legally. Trump probably is on a warpath at the moment, and I think that's a good thing. Israel orders Al Jazeera to close its local operation. Yes, the state of Israel has decided that Al Jazeera is going to stoke up problems that they don't want, so they're silencing them. I point out that this doesn't prevent Israelis from listening to Al Jazeera. It means absolutely nothing. It basically just means Al Jazeera is not able to operate within Israel to document things. Normally, when a state suppresses the media, especially on the corporate end, as opposed to, like YouTubers and stuff, for some reason, there's less outcry about that, even though we're more fair and balanced than the legacy media is. Normally, it's frowned upon, except when it's a close ally of the United States. Then it's perfectly okay. Netanyahu getting a little bit of pushback for this, but it's sort of like in Ukraine. When Russia suppresses non-state broadcasters and raids their offices and stuff, it's a human rights abuse. Oh my God, think of the journalists. When Ukraine does it, nobody really talks about it. Everything's perfectly fine. There's a double standard definitely that's applied. We also see this in East Bloc countries, like with Xinhua and stuff. Well, here's the United States did something terrible that we're also doing at the same time. I would note, Xinhua News supposedly has millions of followers on Twitter and gets virtually no engagement. That's probably because Chinese users can't even access Twitter, as far as I know. I believe it's blocked in the country because, there might be verboten material on that. So I don't know. I'm not comfortable really with a state doing this sort of thing. Although I suppose in Netanyahu's case, it's another case of like he sort of has to, because otherwise people will rise up in arms against him or something. President Irina Vladimirovna Putina. Sticks, I'm finally able to catch you live since I happen to be swapping trailers with a driver who got sick and couldn't run his load. How do you like that Synth for Speed album I sent you? Yeah, I liked that. I put that on my favorite music list real quick. That was great. Thank you for that. The bonus hole. Sticks, you were wrong about Commander Biden in your video earlier. He should not be put down. He should be made Speaker of the House as a thank you for his service to our country. He can be paid in bacon and head scratches and given Pelosi's old office. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, Biden's dog had to bite like 25 people before they finally removed him to Rehoboth Beach. So I don't know. Does he even have a dog right now in the White House? Not sure. Again, though, Chrisye Nome really fucked up. really, really fucked up. Mike the Wop, you're right. She blew up mentioning it in her book. I tell you for therapy. Clank, motherfuckers. Yeah, she's done politically. She's lost all of the small town suburban support she would need to ever mount a federal level bid for any office. She might be able to get away with it for like in the Dakotas because it's mostly rural America. She might skate by. Her federal office aspirations are basically over. John Horn, how do you fit? I can't read that joke on YouTube. Sorry. How do you fit 4 certain individuals on one bar stool? You turn it upside down. You've probably heard the joke. Sorry, but I can't repeat that verbatim on a YouTube live stream. Heritage Heirloom Seed Company announcement. All stick soap boxes ordered to date are ready and will all be mailed out on Wednesday. Yes, indeed. Go to heritageheirloomseedcompany.com. You can get seed survival buckets and way great soaps. It really does. The stick soap is definitely, it's the best soap I've used. Mayor Mike went to Yellowstone National Park on Friday and Saturday. We saw 11 grizzlies and 6 black bears. 11 of them were cubs. Awesome weekend. Enjoy your week. Thank you. That's pretty cool. I don't know. Yellowstone doesn't really attract me. It's probably mainly a tourist trap anyway. I like places a little bit more out of the way. If I want to see nature scenes, I literally just wander off the backyard. It takes me about 30 seconds to get into the woods, and then it takes me about 10 minutes to get into the real woods, like as in the Green Mountain National Forest. I hike quickly. I've got long legs. Anyways, well, let us get to the merch partners before we continue. We got to talk about Biden's dookie and things like that. We've got pumpkinfirecrafts.us. Yes, indeed. You can get bookmarks, keychains, belt chains, engraved spoons, amulets, my favorite, and much, much more, all handmade and engraved with the Ouroboros logo, Clank 10.2, and all of your other favorite Styx Hex and memes. BiltongUSA.com. Yes, the home of Anton's amazing meat. Use code STIX for free shipping. The venison biltong, which I think is still sold out. We'll try to get an update from Anton. I think he's in chat already. I think that's sold out, but delicious. I can't wait to try the elk. Making venison biltong, you're going to make so much fucking money on that. And also we've got Styx Hex and Hammer merchandise there, of course, mugs, tumblers, and shirts. WickedNeedleEmbroidery.BigCartel.com, the land of Styx Hex and Hammer hats. Yes, like the one right behind me. Sometimes I wear hats. I mean, I'm as red as a rock cod right now. I probably should have, you know, a cap on, actually. I mean, look at this. And then there, it's like normal colored skin. I've been outside a lot in the garden. HeritageHeirloomSeedCompany.com, seed survival buckets, which are amazing. Most of the seeds in the garden and the seedlings I'll put in later. They're from Heritage Heirloom. A few exceptions, but mostly from them. And also, again, the Styx Hex and Hammer soapbox is available now. And it's wonderful. It's cedar, clove, and blueberry for the blend specifically from the Styx Hexen line. We've got websterswares.com/Styx-wares. There, you can also go to the main site if you want to. Various eclectic things available there. We've got Styx Hex and Hammer beanies, which I think are going to be quite popular. I'm going to have to give one to Tim Pool, by the way. And again, use code STIX as well. jamandbean.com, JAMN-bean.com, the home of delicious coffee and tea, but you know, you come for the coffee, you stay for the tea, so to speak. Costa Rica blend. Yes, indeed. Very, very nice. Smooth and almost no acidity to it. Yeah, it's got a robust flavor, but without, you know, some coffees are like sour-ish, especially if you brew them wrong, and I have that tendency. It's much more forgiving. It's just a nice, smooth, balanced coffee. And also MTPew, that's MTPEW.com, where you can get various ammunition. Yes, new and range brass. They've got 40 Smith & Wesson, 45, 9mm, 223, 556, and much more. Again, whenever applicable, use code STIX on these sites as well. The bonus holes. Everyone listening to the stream, please bug Elon relentlessly to unban at the bonus holes. That would be over on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, with Elon, there's always a possibility he actually responds too. Maybe he will, maybe he'll listen to the music and he'll say, okay, well, I'll unban you. That's pretty good. Wasted Bonehead, good morning from the grave. The Rumble app has crashed 5 times just trying to send one message. Apologies for that. Maybe I'll try to contact them later. Let's see. King of Biltong, we cannot get venison at the moment. Supplier is out of meat. Well, yeah, I mean, you brined it all off and it sold out instantaneously. I wonder how many deer went into that, by the way. We did get a lot of elk. That will be in full swing in about a week. That's good news. Scruffy, thoughts on SFO's take on his Sunday live stream that the right wing should be taking a more aggressive stance on everything is political in media. His argument is that right-wingers' current stance to make media politically neutral makes it easier for leftists to infiltrate it, and says right-wingers should be making media more right-wing to protect its neutrality. I personally agree with him. Well, as a non-right-winger, I would say that there's a dearth generally of actual conservative news available. Much of it comes in the form of off-hook political commentary and parts of the missing link media. So he's not wrong, but I think that actual neutrality is what is neutral. It's not about balancing. I mean, people, there's always going to be, it's the law of supply and demand. There are always going to be people that want an echo chamber. Some will be right-wing, some will be left-wing. Some of them, they have some other leaning. It's religious media or whatever, and people shop around. As long as it all remains uncensored and algorithms are fair, unfortunately, they're not. There's no problem. BW, what? You mean to tell me the GOP did something right? Imagine the Dems and leftoids seething. They desperately want the Republicans to make abortion a front burner issue. They're trying to force it themselves, but they're also trying to get the Republicans to fuck themselves by doing the same thing. I recommend they do not take the bait. Mike the Wop. Rumble is poop because their ads are for dummies, regrow teeth, and other such nonsense. I like Rumble. And there's 1,000 people watching me there right now. Lance the Lion, diet is going well. Thanks for the advice. Let's just hope the damage done from years of not giving a fuck don't sink me with a bad heart after. You can recuperate. You can also look into various herbal treatments and stuff to buff your body back up. Drink a lot of chamomile. That's my recommendation. I'm going to be having probably 4 or 5 bags of it in the cup tonight. I'm going to need it. I have a feeling I'm going to have a bit of insomnia. Either Joe Biden dutied his undies yesterday, or his physical fitness is in a sharp decline and he can no longer stand like a normal person. If you look at this video, not archived because it's literally just me replicating the America First and on Patriot page there on Twitter, it does look his stance like a person that just pooped themselves a little bit and is trying to hold the rest of the liquid in. Like, oh shit, it was Cinco de Mayo the other day, by the way. Ta-da, put 2 and 2 together. It's entirely possible that he shit his pants. Not that hasn't happened to the best of us, but, in order for me to have that happen, I had to take some unknown laxative nut down in southern Texas. I won't bore you with the story again. I had a little bit of a problem there. But, I'm in my 20s, so obviously I don't have incontinence issues. It was inflicted. With Joe Biden, he's in his 80s now. Sometimes you can't trust a fart. It's an old joke by old people about, they hit 50 and it's like, be careful. He'll be in those adult undergarments anytime. I wonder if he has any specially crafted, like super top secret CIA manufactured undergarments that are concealable or something like that. Probably does. Kevlar undergarments or something, seals it up so that if he makes a doo-doo poopy, then, he can still stagger around for a while without it leaking. In all honesty, though, I think this is his spinal condition acting up. Maybe he didn't take his meds that morning or he's literally deteriorating. He has been deteriorating this whole time. It's elder abuse. It's like a live show, like, My Life with Dementia or something like that. And then you get to watch the person slowly become more and more decrepit. I'm not worried about his physical capabilities, just to be clear. I wouldn't care if we had a president who was paralyzed from the waist down or something. That's not the issue. My issue is with his mental state. This is just a sort of physical, like easily seen physical coordination with his mental decline. In his particular line of work, is he expected to do athletics or something like that? No, not really. And, in some physical ways, he is actually more fit than the average 80-plus-year-old person. The average person at that age is not biking long distances, for example. But mentally, that's the real problem. If he's starting to shit himself, that's more on the humorous side. It's not even necessarily newsworthy. But at this point, Biden possibly shitting himself is sort of the threshold at which I mention it at all. He has to have one hell of a gaffe to surprise me at this point, like the SOTU speech there where he did the Adderall grin at the Republicans when they were booing him and then said, started rambling at them and shit like that. I'm worried about his mental state because he's got to make decisions using his mind. Oh, supposedly he does. Other people, unfortunately now, or fortunately, depending on which way you go, have to do it for him. Christopher McHale, wildlife biologist, longtime fan, fight the good fight, clank, clank. Yes, never give up. No matter how bad it gets. Drop of ice, build a skill. Doing that again right now myself, actually. You may notice that I'm a little bit more peppy today. BW, oh God, I hate chamomile. It makes me feel so groggy. Cinco de crapo. Well, yeah, that's why you drink it at night. You drink it right before bed. When you're already planning to sleep. I am a lifelong insomniac. I wake up really easily at the drop of a pin, quite literally. Unless I knock myself out with chamomile or something like that. It's hard for me to get to sleep, harder for me to stay asleep for long periods of time. I have to use white noise because I've got tinnitus, so I don't generally sleep very well. And so chamomile is a very positive thing. It puts me to sleep. The one drawback is I build a tolerance to it really, really quickly. And so if I'm going to use it tonight because, I just feel like I'm going to have terrible insomnia, I won't be able to use it tomorrow night. And so I'll just have to take my lumps. Wasted bonehead stick. Stop slandering the first undead president. Everyone knows you void your bowels when you die. Shake my fucking head. Also, I'm going to be doing a shout-out video fairly soon. I'm waiting on one more thing that somebody's sending in before I do that, but I've got all sorts of cool shit from Webster's Wares and so forth. From one of my favorite former mayors as well. There's some good stuff that I got to shout out there. Poll: more Americans trust Trump over Biden on the economy and inflation. According to an ABC poll, 88% of Americans in the survey said the economy was important when deciding whom to vote for. 85% said the same for inflation. Kind of the same thing, inflation being a microcosm of the problems with the current economy, but I digress. 46% of surveyed Americans said they trust Trump on the economy, while 32% said the same of Joe Biden. 21% said they trusted neither of the presidential front runners on the issue. Technically, I'm in that 21% cohort. I don't trust Trump in every manner on the economy because I don't know which way the economy is going to go at any time, and I realize the limitations on the executive branch to influence aspects of the economy. But Biden demonstrably and objectively has done far worse than anything that Trump could have possibly done. Under Trump, inflation was under control and unemployment was low. It was a good economy. Not perfect, but it was good. Most people had a job. Most people didn't need to get a side hustle in order to buy groceries. Inflation was low. In fact, a few times it went negative, actually, for a few quarters there when Trump was in office. We've seen no such boon under Joe Biden. Inflation has been rampant and rapid. It's been going on the entire time. It started shortly after he came into office, got worse and worse and worse. Now it's stabilized, but prices are still soaring sight unseen. It's just that it's a year-over-year metric, so people don't notice it when they look into the statistics as much. It is inarguable that Donald Trump managed the economy better. And part of that was, you weren't expending so many resources on a bunch of wars and the border and shit like that. Crime was lower. You have a lot of problems now that were more limited under Donald Trump. The inflation would be the big one. The economy in general, let's say the economy gets a little shaky. If inflation is under control, though, most people will still be able to pull by. And not if you have like a Great Depression sort of thing going on, but if you have some smaller, more short-term problems, people can still get by. Inflation impacts everyone other than the 1%ers. The rest of the public, I mean, if they have any asset whatsoever of significance, it's their house. That's their main asset. They might have a mutual fund or something like that. If you own a yacht, you don't care about inflation because the yacht just gets revalued alongside the inflation, so you don't really lose your money. Most of us don't have yachts. Although I have thought if I ever come into a decent sum of money, I would like to get an old fishing trawler. Put it on Lake Champlain and go fishing and stuff like that. That would be fun. Imagine live streams from a crabbing boat or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. The Copper Owl, don't listen to SFO. He's a commie trying to escalate. Mike the Wop, tell mom I'll pay $100 for the mushroom light stick. Goodness, $100? Okay. I think we can get you one of those. Yeah, I can set you up. And DM me on Twitter. Yeah, my mom makes these. For those of you who haven't seen them, they're decorated pieces of wood from the woods with like moss and stuff like that. And then there's these little lights. And these are made with hot glue, actually. And then they turn on. This one was specifically asked for by me in this color because it looks a lot like those little glowing mushrooms in Skyrim. That was the point behind this. And then there's this one. Yeah, she's made a bunch of them. I like that. I like the piece of wood too. It's because it kind of curls up and stuff. Anyway, they're pretty fun. Some of the plant matter on them is actual plant matter, and some of it's little plastic plants that are glued on. The bonus hole sticks. I also have tinnitus, and there's this trick I learned where you put the palm of your hand over your ear, applying pressure, and quickly pull it off. Makes the ringing go away. Doesn't work for me. Now, my tinnitus is relatively severe. I had a bad fever once as a child when I was 7 or so, and or 8, maybe a little older, and since then I've had tinnitus. Tony the Greaser, over 100 followers on Instagram so far. Stay cool, stay confident. Tony the Greaser, shout out for you. Joe Hoffman, Helldivers 2 is overrated. I won't play it, so I have no opinion either way. Big Meowster 99, I have notifications enabled. Today, all 3 of your videos never got pushed to me. Most days, at least one never gets pushed, but today it's all 3. It sucks. Yeah, YouTube is definitely screwing me with the algorithm. BW, have you tried melatonin? No, I don't want to use any sort of such substance. I know that it's natural, it's not addictive or something, that's fine. Wasted Bonehead, Styx doesn't understand undead economics. To bring an economy to life, you have to first murder it. Yeah, then you have an economy that's made of like bones and teeth and stuff like that. BW, I finally got through to Dr. Turley and told him he needs to DM you on Twitter. He said he would love to do a show with you because you influenced him to make his own videos. Yeah, no, he's just got to DM me. Angie Van Halen, what are your thoughts on Tucker Carlson's Joe Rogan interview? Haven't seen it, I think. If that was just recently, no, I haven't seen it yet. Bonus holes. Can your mom make shroom lights that look like psilocybe cubensis? Yeah, probably. I don't know. I'd have to ask. Wine Country Stackin'. As a man of many hats, yours is my new favorite. On that note, what are your thoughts on foie gras? Clank, clank. Isn't that where they force feed ducks or geese or something like that, and they like stuff them full of cholesterol and then they pull their liver out? I'm not in favor of force feeding animals. I also wouldn't eat veal, actually. King of Biltong, good morning, clankers. Missed Friday sticks and wanted to share. Mrs. Biltong had our fourth kid Thursday evening. Thanks to Clankdom for the awesome support. Also, I have your South African MRE. Will send this week. Excellent. I'm looking forward to that shit. And again, congratulations to you, your wife, and your growing family. Alaska Pants, Sticks, is that ketchup on the shelf behind you? Yes, this one is for show. The Heritage Heirloom family set me up with some of the Simply Tomato ketchup, and it actually is available in one of the local stores. So when I run out, I'll be doing a resupply. I should probably just get a keg of it. Why don't they sell like 10-gallon kegs of ketchup and then have like a spout on the bottom, like the ones that you would get for fast food service and stuff like that, with the little paper cups? And nobody ever knew you were technically supposed to pull the paper cup open, and nobody ever did that. The bonus holes. Also, can she upscale the size to a stage prop? I don't know. I'll look into it. I don't know. Tony the Greaser, eating simple sugars before bed helps me sleep. Shaker Silver, Chrisye Nome and Tim Scott are neocons, the latter especially. They wormed their way into MAGA light with some pretty words and empty actions. Hashtag not Scott. Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in or trust any particular political figure 100%. The closest you'll get is like Ron Paul. And I don't agree with him on all issues either. Transylvanian 90. I think Tucker ranted about how evolution isn't real because there's no evidence of transitional species, fossils, which is factually incorrect. Bad take from Tucker. Yeah, no, evolution is real. It's been documented pretty thoroughly. I know there are some people that'll disagree with me, but I have my opinions. I believe in evolution. Wasted Bonehead. Sigil Stone gave me a friendship bracelet. Two-faced fucker is an amazing friend in private, but absolute douchebag in public. Next news story. Florida woman. Alert! Florida woman. It involves a Floridian, so you know that it's going to be wacky. Naked Florida woman arrested after breaking into neighbor's home, leaving her own children alone at her home. Haley Blunt, 24, is charged with burglary, criminal mischief, and child neglect. They've got a picture of her from her mugshot. It's got to be drug related. Either that or maybe she developed some sort of weird fascination with his neighbor and wanted to bang him. She's reasonably attractive. She's not ugly. So it's like, you know, some naked woman shows up at your front door. At first, you're probably like, what the fuck? I didn't order a hooker. But then you're probably like, oh shit, she's breaking the window and trespassing on my property. And then you call the police. And indeed, that's what happened. She's charged with burglary, criminal mischief, and child neglect. The child neglect part is rankling. I mean, if she didn't have her kids at home, you know, then it'd be 10 times less creepy. It would just be like, okay, she got a little zipped on that fentanyl, I'm sure. I think you'll find she's got some substances in her home of a narcotic nature. When officers arrived, the victim told them an unknown person, later identified as Blunt, knocked on the front door, but when asked who was there, nobody would answer. Telling. Blunt then, and then the name, by the way, is totally hilarious. Blunt, and she's obviously on drugs. I think it was more than a blunt, though. Maybe if she had 5 of them. Blunt then reportedly went to the home's sliding glass door and asked again, and again began to knock, but still would not disclose who she was when the victim asked. Wonder if he took any subtle pictures of this particular naked lady before he called dispatch. The victim was on the phone with 911 when Blunt broke a window near the front door and entered the home, police said. Officers then arrived where the victim met them outside. After officers approached the front door, they located Blunt nude and bleeding from injuries she sustained while breaking the window and entering the home. She was transported to a local hospital for treatment for her wounds, later released from the hospital and booked into the Columbia County Jail without bond. Yeah, I think that you don't want that person to go back out into public until you figure out exactly why this happened. Could have been a psychotic episode. More likely, it was drug-related. An investigation into the incident revealed that Blunt lived in a nearby home and left her 2 young children unsupervised while she broke into her neighbor's home, resulting in a child neglect charge. The children were found safe and later turned over to a family member. So, yeah, There's going to be a lot of questions about this one. I'm probably going to keep up with the story a little bit. I'm wondering, are they going to find out it was drug related? Or maybe she just went crazy for a while or was obsessed with this neighbor and wanted to ride his face or something like that. Nothing wrong with that. Brandon Fairbanks. Fresh air and time with loved ones will kick bad sleep in the ass. Also, cats are notorious for waking people up. Get a dog. No, the cats don't really wake me up. I just close the door and Quincy meows at the door, but he doesn't do that until at least 6:30. And by then I'm already usually awake, so it doesn't really matter. Tarl the Tooth Warwick's abandoned daughter. Ashley Biden's diary is soft core compared to mine. Oh, goodness. You're stretching it with that. It's not really funny. At least be humorous if you're going to pay me to say weird shit, okay? I demand more humor. I demand more funny jokes. I'll give you a temporary ban if you say unfunny stuff. You know, you're basically like a court jester on the channel. I do appreciate it. Oh, shit. Want to see butterflies in your backyard? Try doing less yard work. No mow patch helps caterpillars live long enough to turn into butterflies and moths. By the way, it's just easier, you know? You don't have to do anything. You just let a patch of your lawn go fallow and things will tend to promulgate. Another thing that you can do is just garden. I realize some people, unfortunately, though, they've got land and they could garden, but the housing authority won't let them. Like, they have to supervise your fucking vegetables and make sure that you're not growing the wrong thing. Okay, you can have your raspberry plants, but we've decided that blueberries are not in keeping with the aesthetic of our community, so you need to remove those. Or, you water the grass to make it grow longer and fertilize it, and then you have to mow it more often. I don't understand the suburbanite mentality with stuff like that. Yes, a well-manicured lawn can be a fun spot to, play around, run around with the kids or something like that, play a game of football or whatever the fuck you're into, but it's not producing anything. Hell, I would tailor the whole piece of land here into just a giant garden if I had the time and the resources to do so. We will be expanding further. I still want to get a hoop house as well. But it's rewarding. It's a source of good nutritional food that's cheaper than what you get in the stores. You can do all sorts of stuff with the garden. That's what I'm aiming for. I've got to get the corn and bean patch actually fully cleared later, and then that's it for the year. Once that's cleared, about the only thing I have to do is go back through some of the beds again because there's still a bunch of witchgrass in them. I hate that stuff. If one root nodule has been left in the ground, then unless it's desert levels of dry, it'll take root. And it's never that dry here. So there's some witchgrass trying to poke through. Butterflies are good. I would point out that it's also good for other pollinators, bees and so forth. They like that. Plant some wildflower mix. Even if you only plant like a flower mix or something, you do realize some of those flowers are edible. Just plant in a bunch of hollyhocks. You can eat them like salad. Nasturtiums, that's the way to do it. The Emperor's Champion. Don't break windows with your bare fist. You could easily nick a vein or an artery, and it doesn't take long to pass out from blood loss. It sounds like she was so blitzed, she was probably close to passing out anyway. I mean, she wouldn't even say anything. She was effective. Maybe she was in a catatonic state of some sort. Some sort of trance. I have a feeling, again, either drugs or mental illness sort of are the only things that would explain that kind of human behavior generally. So feel sorry for her, actually. She might have just gone loopy, and now she loses her kids. Might not be her fault. It could be maybe she's got latent schizophrenia or something like that. Wasted bonehead. I was surprised when Chrisye Nome turned out to be the leader of the ATF. Yeah, Chrisye Nome is, I just don't understand. Up until now, she's generally been well communicated. She's a decent speaker. She had no glaring issues. Yeah, I don't like all of her views, but she would be on the upper half at least and I expected her to be near the top of the list for considerations as far as a running mate. I think she's at the bottom of the pile now. I think that when Trump saw the news, he's like, "What the hell are you doing? You don't do this. Okay, you shot your dog. You don't need to tell people about that during election season, right? You can wait." It's almost like maybe she's just trying to get a lot of attention for her book and hoping that she gets a lot of sales. Maybe she doesn't want the running mate position or something. I'm getting rid of that. I'm deleting that. Yeah, we're not going to deal with that over on Rumble. Delete this message. Yes. Bye. I don't allow scammers. I don't care if people troll me. I don't care if people say edgy shit. And if you pay me, I'll say anything that won't get me banned for the most part. But I don't allow crypto scammers. Mike the Wop, Trump, Tulsi, anything else is BS. There are others that are, I would like Rand Paul. in my opinion, he'd be the perfect running mate, but he doesn't seem to be concerned with wanting to be in executive politics. I think that they should angle him in. I think Trump should promote him as the potential leader of the Senate Republicans. Once McConnell dies, he probably won't retire because he's too stubborn. He needs to get that coke money. By the way, we never got any answers about the cocaine yacht, did we? We never got answers about whose $10 million or some crazy shit worth of cocaine, whose it was, any more than we ever found out whose coke it was in the White House. I'm sure that they know who it was. They've got video cameras in there for a reason, which means it's somebody closely connected to Joe Biden. Maybe Joe himself is like, I need to make a speech and, I'm an old man. I don't feel up to it. I'll just snort a line. That back in the 70s and 80s, a corporate cutthroat style politician, neolib like him, he snorted coke. Probably snorted with the Reagan fans, Yeah, I don't like the idea of shooting a dog either, but if your dog has just attempted to bite you and destroyed a bunch of your neighbor's chickens, if they report it, it's going to be euthanized anyway, dude. What happens if it bites a 5-year-old? That could be a big problem. Mike the Womp, Rand Paul DeSantis, 28. That could work. Yeah, that could work. I've forgiven DeSantis. I know some people still don't trust him and stuff like that, but he has done some good things as governor. The primaries are over. A lot of that was literally nothing more than it's politics. It's political theater. It's just the way. AJ for press secretary. No, I think Carrie Lake should be White House press secretary. She's got journalism experience. She's run rings around these people before. It would be hilarious if she were White House press secretary. I wouldn't want her on as running mate at this point, I think. But press secretary, she'd do that job. She'd be, imagine, compared to Karine Jean-Pierre, how good a job she would do. Wouldn't even be close. Jazzy Avadian is now a monthly supporter. Thank you very much. Sigil Stone. I left Chrisye Nome's dead dog outside of Bonehead's mausoleum. Jazzy Avadian. We love you, Sticks. Clank. Raz and Simone Avadian. Thank you very much. Clank, clank. Mike the Wop. I don't hold any grudge against Ron except for those high heels. Yeah, joking about him is perfectly fine. It's still humorous. But politically speaking, generally, I don't like HB 269. I supported him on the Martha's Vineyard move. Supported him over Trump, actually, on the Disney thing when he went after them for various reasons. If I were him, I would just point out, hey, the state of Florida has effectively given you a monopoly and turned you into a literal town. So you're going to have to play by the rules if we're going to continue to give you that deference. Fucking with Mickey Mouse, he'll shank you, The Copper Owl, I want to date Luna. Can Stolas be my wingman? Yeah, I don't get the Luna lust sort of thing. I really don't. A lot of people have the hots for this. It's from Hell of a Boss. It's this character that's basically a furry. I think that's the point. I think that they put her in there for a reason. I have a feeling that it had to do with catering to a certain demographic of corny people. Oh, there's another crypto spam over there. I think that I'll just mute you forever. Bye. Yeah, no crypto spam allowed on any platform. If I see it, I remove it. Generally, I am very laid back and laissez-faire with regards to people chatting. I don't have any moderators. I've banned maybe like 3 fucking people in the whole time on Rumble and maybe a few dozen on YouTube over the years that I've been streaming. And that's just for scams mainly. So they're putting a link there and saying, oh, here's a giveaway. And you know that you're not going to get anything out of the giveaway, but I don't want anyone to get scammed. I would rather them give me the money, If you want to lose $100, I'm right here. And you get to shout out anything that you want. BW, don't forget the pudding fingers. Lance the Lion, I don't care. Luna turned me into a furry. Yeah, if I had to be trapped on a desert island, though, with any of the Hell of a Boss characters, it would probably be Millie, actually, because, she seems the least malevolent and most useful of the people that are there. Luna would just be a bitch the whole time and, probably kill you in the end. Stolas, while he has got, demonic powers, is kind of useless at times. He's too foppish and elitist, so, he's just going to sing and stuff like that. He's not used to physical manual labor, it seems. Blitz would probably rape you. And Moxie is also kind of useless, generally speaking. Oh, yeah, it would be Millie, I think. Sigil Stone, hell of a boss character, basically a furry. Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down? Doesn't that character have syphilis? Yes, in the pilot episode, I believe, she insinuated that she had syphilis, and Blitz was giving her a present, and it was a box of spiders, actually. It was not a cure for syphilis. Crossover Maniac. People in urban areas need to understand that people who live off the land have to get their hands dirty sometimes. Yeah, I've got a little dirt on my fingernails right now. I didn't scrub them completely. I did trim my fingernails, though. Managed to think of that. Tarl the Tooth Warwick's abandoned daughter. Cuck Dad sings, I need you on my chest, and don't let me self-touch me want it all the time. Listen, I do what I want, and you can get hit by an alt-right train if you think I care about you blocking me, cuck. All right. Well, I mean, yeah, again, if you're paying me money, that's fine. I think that your grammatical mistakes there, they count as funny enough. So that's fine. Sungming Belergion sent you the stuff on X for the Warhammer drama. Also, Sargon is now a canon Warhammer villain. Interesting. You mean like Sargon the YouTuber, or Sargon like the figure from ancient mythology? I don't know. He picked a good username. It's definitely memorable. I like Sargon. He gave me my first real break. And now I get to eat biltong all day. Thank you, Sargon. We got to get some of that to him. I wonder if he's tried biltong. Yeah, King of Biltong, Anton. We'll try to get him hooked on your product too. Pretty soon, every content creator will just be eating biltong all day, and you'll have an empire. You'll have to branch out beyond Texas. I'm afraid you're going to have to start wearing a suit instead of a bolo tie. The Copper Owl. If I date Luna, I'll cuck every furry in existence. Yeah, there's a lot of lewd material with regards to that particular character, I've noticed. It's almost inescapable. I mean, I'd like to look up Hell of a Boss stuff without seeing very bizarre pornographic material, because, you know, I know it's a lewd series anyway. There's a lot of fucking references and shit like that, but, you know. Mike the Wop, a lot of these typos is YouTube altering your typing. I've learned to turn autocorrect off from my phone before I super chat to circumvent that. Yeah. I'm not a phone user. I always use desktop, so I never have that problem. I've never actually successfully done a super chat or Rumble rant, though. I can't get it to go through, and I've tried to do that for multiple users. Yeah, true, Anton. Sargon's in the UK, so, yeah, you can't ship the meat directly to him. I mean, he might take a day trip to New York or something like that. You know, Sargon Akkad wants some delicious biltong or something like that. Sargon, come to Vermont sometime. Come and eat maple syrup and biltong. And then the foundation of a healthy diet. Well, maybe not the maple syrup, but the biltong, certainly. I'm going to be eating another big handful of the venison. It's almost gone now, sadly. I can't wait for more before I go out and garden. You need protein. There are only two things that I eat before I go out and I do any form of physical labor. Biltong and peanuts. Those are the only things. Because then you get a long boost of energy instead of just a really brief boost like with sugary foods, and then you crash 30 minutes later or something like that. Not interested in sugary foods generally. The only sweetening that I will use, it's acceptable if you're cooking meat and it's like a pineapple chicken thing or something like that, or Szechuan beef. That's okay. You can use some sweetening in there. Or if you're just using it to cut acidity. So for like a marinara sauce, it's the only time that I add sugar to anything. I can't remember the last time I ate candy. I don't know. I think I had a Reese's cup earlier this year at some point, maybe. Or maybe it was last year. I mean, time flies when you're having fun. I'm getting older at a rapid pace. Jazzy Evadian, Trump for President 24 and Sticks for Vice President. Raz and Simone Evadian. I would never take such a position. I would never take a job that required that I be in D.C. I don't like cities, number one, but I don't like politicians. I wouldn't want to be around the sleazebag lawyers and stuff like that. Yeah, no thanks. I think that I'll skip that. If I ran for office at all, it would be local. Maybe like for the mayor of Rutland or something. Maybe I'll run for that someday, but I'm uninclined to do that either because it would take a chunk out of my schedule of doing whatever the hell I want. I've already got a rewarding job. Why would I want to pretend to represent other people's interests when I know I'm not going to get any cooperation if I have a good idea anyway? So, and then you get shit on for things you don't do too. You know, the city council does something retarded, but you're the mayor, so you end up getting the blame. And then people show up at your house yelling at you because you didn't stop the council from doing something shitty. I don't know. Not a fan of that. I love analyzing politics, but I don't really want to run for office. Plenty of people outside the USA. I believe like 98% of the world population. Now, it's not 98%. The United States has like, what is it, 4 million people in it? I mean, 400 million people in it. No, exactly. I don't know the world population anymore. It was like 6 billion years ago. I think it's 7 or 8 billion or something. Kong H. If New York sends Trump to state prison, he can't pardon? No, if he's in on state charges, he would not be able to pardon himself. Paper is not money. Move the capital to the center of the country. The problem with that is that the people there probably wouldn't want the new capital to be there. While I would like the capital of the United States to be a square acre of corn out in the middle of Iowa where politicians are forced to debate each other out under the hot sun, it's just not pragmatic. Sungmin Belairjean. Sargon of Akkad is now a slaver in the latest Necromunda novel. I used the wrong book in the XDM. Also, they displayed a pride paint scheme for Space Marines, and one was the map flag. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, I'll have to look in on that. Seriously, the cheese pizza flag is being used now openly on a... Okay. Alrighty then. I'm not surprised. Everything woke goes to shit. They keep pushing the envelope further and further. I don't know. Think, hey, if people are allowed to do whatever they want as long as they're consensual adults, isn't that kind of what was fought for decades? And isn't that sort of the end-all be-all of what they want? But no, because the whole point is to have continuous social combat, so they always have to go further. Corn is king. Yeah, I'll be planting that later. Bantam corn from Heirloom Heritage Seed Company. Heritage Heirloom, rather. Anyways, I think that I'm going to go offline here because we've run out of news to talk about. And I'm really looking forward to doing corn-related things. And I need to eat biltong. You know, it's a necessity. And drink lots more caffeine without burping on stream, you know. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with more news. Keep in mind, 5:30 p.m. Eastern today, I will be on as well with the Quartering. I'm his new Monday and Wednesday co-host, so I'll be on with him. I believe he has a guest as well, so it'll be a three-way conversation. And Sigil Stone, last one. Please send no more super chats. I want to be president. My first executive order is to build world's largest sewage dump on Bonehead's grave. Poor Bonehead. You two should just get along. That's about all. Peace out.